everyone! Welcome to a very special episode of DETV, the stream where we talk about mostly dice, but today very little dice. I'm just coming back from a big vacation. I hope you guys are having a happy holidays, and it's Christmas Eve, so yay! I hope you guys all have great Christmas plans set up and New Year's plans. And today I thought we'd try something a little different and do a short, hopefully, and successful, hopefully, cooking demonstration. So, while I remove a cat from the table real quick, we'll get started. What we're going to be making today, I already made one, is a molten chocolate cake. And they come in about this size if you can make them in little ramekins if you have them. And we're going to go through the process of putting this together. So, the first thing you're going to want to do is get your ingredients together. So, we have here sugar, flour, chocolate, yum, eggs, which are at room temperature, it's very important, and butter. This is it. This is just 5 ingredients, 5 ingredients, very simple, very easy to make, and that's why I chose this recipe to do with you guys today. Let's go, Mr. Ghost says. All right, let's go. All right, so I will post the actual amounts for these ingredients in the comments on the YouTube page when we upload this. So anyone who's watching later, you'll be able to look down in the comments and see. But just a quick overview. If you're watching, we've got 6 ounces total of chocolate. So this is semi-sweet chocolate chips. You want something that you can melt. So 6 ounces. And then we've got 1.5 ounces of sugar, just white sugar, plain white sugar. 2 ounces of flour, which is kind of crazy. So this is a interesting time for a comment. Even though it kind of looks like we have less flour here than sugar, we have more weight of flour. And that's a good time to point out that if you're baking, I suggest getting a scale. It's easy, it's not that expensive, and very easy to use, and it measures, well, this one measures pounds and kilograms, but most importantly, it'll give you grams and ounces if you're measuring dry goods or wet goods, or I'm sorry, if you're measuring by weight, which when you're baking, you want to measure by weight as often as you can. So, moving on. So 1.5 ounces of sugar, 2 ounces of flour. We've got, I think this was butter was 6 ounces of unsalted butter, but if you buy your butters in sticks like I do, then you're just going to do 1.5 sticks. It'll be the same thing, and I think it says that on here. So 6 ounces of butter, and then 4 eggs. And again, eggs, leave them out like an hour before you get started because you want them to be room temperature. Most of the recipes that I've ever baked ask for room temperature eggs. I think it has something to do with like not shocking the dough, or maybe it's like you don't want to put the dough in too cold so that you get like the right results if you cook it at a temp for a certain time. Room temperature butter too, Sock Beans asks. Typically in baking recipes, yes, but in this one, our first step is actually going to be to melt the butter. So it doesn't matter if it's room temperature or not because we're going to melt it. And that is our first step. So moving on back here, I've already started melting the butter and the chocolate together. So all of our butter we put in a bowl with all of our chocolate. And I've got this going ahead of time because I realized that it takes a minute and I didn't want to just be like turned around not talking to you guys for a whole long. So we've got chocolate melting here on the stove. Yum. This setup is called a double boiler. So I have a very small, simple pot on the stove, and I put like this much water in it, and I set it to boil. It got to a boil, and then I turned it all the way down to low. So, and you can kind of see the steam here. The steam comes out and slowly heats up. The metal bowl, not the plastic bowl. We don't want to use a plastic bowl. Don't ask me how I know that. The metal bowl gets heated up very gently, and in that you can melt your butter and your chocolate without worrying about burning it. So that's what we did, and now it's melted. And you can see it here, dripping. It's delicious. Lovely. So now that we've got that melted, If you're watching along and baking at the same time, you can go ahead and pause the video because, you know, like if you're watching in the future, because now it'll be like 5 to 10 minutes before you get that to gently, slowly melt. Once it's melted though, we can move on to our next step. I set up this handy dandy table cam here so you can see what we're doing as we're doing it. Our next step is going to be with the sugar and the eggs. So we're going to crack all 4 of our eggs, our room temperature eggs, into our sugar, our bowl of sugar. Yay, cracking eggs is fun. Oh no. Da-da-da. This is a pretty casual recipe. It's not like Great British Baking Challenge worthy or anything. So if you're a little off with your measurements, or if you don't have a scale, or you don't have a double boiler, if you don't have a double boiler, you can microwave chocolate and butter together in a microwave safe dish, not in a metal bowl. Don't ask me how I know that. Here we go with 3rd egg. Isn't it wild how like sometimes the egg just doesn't want to go? There we go. He's like hanging on for dear life. I know it kind of looks like I'm throwing shells on my floor here, but I promise I'm not. I moved my trash can. All right, so that's 4 eggs. We're gonna go off camera for just a second to get this goop off of our fingers. Whenever I'm cooking, I feel like I hit up the sink for like little finger washes about 50 times per recipe. I don't know if anyone else does that. All right, so we've got our eggs and our sugar. And we are going to whisk. We are going to whisk the shit out of them. I guess I'll use this downtime to talk a little bit about what Dice Envy has been up to. So if you got the newsletter, you may or may not have, on the 18th, the 17th? I don't remember. I think it was the 18th. That was our final day in office, so the whole crew has been out of the office since then, except for Ian, who has been doing winter inventory, which is very, very important, both for taxes and for our sanity. We're very thankful for him for sticking behind and doing all the office work while we're gone. But yeah, so what that means is we do put a pause on shipments. If you order after the 18th, it may or may not get shipped out, but it's definitely delayed because we do not have a full crew in office. The rest of us are working from home and putting our brains to work. So we've been brainstorming about new ideas for 2025. Dylan and I have been working hard on art to put together for 2025, both for Dice and Dice packaging, and some other things that I don't think I'm allowed to say yet. But very exciting stuff. And Maria, unfortunately, is probably buried in taxes because she handles all of that for us, and it's the end of the year. And then Dave organized an awesome Christmas party that I have some pictures from that we'll share in the next newsletter, which will go out in January because it's like the end of the month now. And all right, so that's pretty whisked. You want to get it like super combined. You want all the like, you want it to look like whisked eggs when you're going to scramble eggs, you know? You don't want a lot of like clear chunks or whatever. So there we go. The next step is more whisking, but first we're going to add our little bit of flour. So we're just going to powder it in because ultimately we want to incorporate the whole thing. So you want to do like a little bit at a time. You don't really need to like whisk this flour in. You just kind of want it mixed in because we're going to be building a little cake batter here. So a little bit at a time. You do it like in 3 parts maybe. You can spill some. It's all good. I will say, I said that step 1 was melting the butter and the sugar, or the chocolate. It absolutely is not. Step 1 is cleaning your kitchen, especially if you have cats, because cats are filthy and nimble, so they get everywhere. So you'll definitely want to wipe down all your surfaces before you start baking for anyone. You don't want to become known as the, cat hair cake lady. So, all right, we'll add the last little bit here. And we'll just give it a good stir. It's going to look a little lumpy and chunky, but that's okay. Like I said, casual recipe. not super important to have everything perfect. Get it blended in here. Jay Maloney says, I got so many new things this month. Love the stocking and opening the advent calendar. Yay! I'm glad you got your stocking and you loved it. The stockings were so much fun to put together. I've been getting a lot of great feedback from them. We actually still have some more in stock. We're probably just going to retire the products. It'll become like a seasonal thing for us, obviously. And if we have any leftovers, we'll either be gifting them or selling them again next year. So that'll be fun. The advent calendar has been a lot of fun to watch you all open. That's been, always is, a joy of mine. So thank you everybody who shares. And I do hope you enjoyed your inclusions. We had a lot of fun stuff like wood dice and, dice for the new system that I keep forgetting the name of. I don't think that Maria's here today, but if she was, she would tell us. But it's a new system that uses 2d12s, and it's like got good and evil stuff going on. It sounds awesome. I haven't read much about it, obviously, but that is supposed to be coming out this year. Okay, so we've mixed our flour into our eggs, so we'll set them aside. We're gonna grab our chocolate / butter mixture, and then we're gonna put those two things together. So we'll kill the stove. We'll use a handy dandy hand cover so we don't burn ourselves. It'll be very embarrassing. And we'll bring this over here and you can get a better look at how beautiful and silky this chocolate is. My gosh. I mean, I don't think that it's recommended that you drink butter chocolate, but I don't see what harm it could really do. Alright, so we'll just let that set in there because we're going to need to stir it in just a moment. And we'll pour our slightly frothy egg, flour, sugar mixture into the chocolate. Another nice thing about this recipe is it just all kind of like comes together, so there's not not a ton of separate dishes that you're gonna have to clean afterward, which is nice. Speaking of, I'm gonna put this in the sink. And then over here, we've got our butter, egg, flour, sugar mixture. I mean, I think that's just like the basics, right? For every delicious thing. Got some activity in the Daggerheart. Thank you, Mr. Ghost. Yes, Daggerheart is the name of the system with the 2d12s that we included in the advent calendar. A green one and a red one. I think good and evil is part of the Daggerheart thing, I think. And it's also very Christmassy, red and green. So, you know, Jedi, Sith, trees, Santa, it's all the same vibe. Jay Maloney, the Black Friday DETV gift you guys sent. I honestly don't remember oh yeah, I do. You're very welcome. That's very exciting. I'm glad you got that too. You got our Brockton Dice plushie, who is also right here watching us bake. Lots of fun. Brockton's a very good assistant because he's quiet and just does the dishes afterward. All right. We've mixed this all together. We still have a couple little lumps. Honestly, I think that's okay, but just in case, just so that we get the most perfect results, I'm gonna re-grab my whisk and just give it a couple more good turns. Just want to get it like as battery, like chocolate cake battery as looking as possible. Just give it a few good spins. And that's looking good. So you can see now how it's thickened up into like a thick, like batter. Not super thick, but you know, way thicker than just melted chocolate. Super simple, right? Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do, and now's a really bad time to say if you're watching this as a recording and you've been trying to bake along, but originally you should have preheated your oven to 320 degrees. This is my first cooking video, so I apologize for not mentioning that first, but you know, hopefully you've done the right thing and watched the video all the way through before even starting so that you had all the directions. So preheat to 320, which our oven currently is at. So we're gonna move this over here. We're gonna grab our vessels. I've got 3 ramekins. So I have 4 ramekins, but you saw I already used one for the example. The ramekins are made of ceramic Any oven safe dish will do. If you've got glass Pyrex, oh, you know what? A muffin pan would probably also work for this. Especially if you have like a jumbo muffin pan. I think that'd be ideal. The ramekins themselves, I think, hold about a cup of liquid. So somewhere around there if you're looking for the right temperature and time, associations. But if you have a bigger vessel, then maybe think about doing it for a little bit more time, smaller, like a muffin pan, less, etc., etc. But yeah, so next up, we just pour this bad boy in. So we're gonna try to do this as cleanly as possible. And if we make a mess, it's okay, because Brockton's here to help us clean after we're done. Whoa. Oh, all right, we're already making a mess. It's cool. It's all good. A little burning chocolate cake smell in the kitchen isn't gonna kill anybody. So you can see I'm filling these up pretty far. The result of the bake is not a lot of added volume to the bake. Like sometimes when you bake a cake, it'll like blow up, it'll rise, or bread especially. But with these, they stay pretty dense and moist, so you can get them pretty close to the top of your vessel and not worry about them going over. So that's it. That's it. Like, that's basically it. The only thing now we have to do is stick it in the oven. And the original recipe that I read said 14 minutes, but I did this earlier and it definitely took more like 17. So my suggestion is going to be 15 and then check it. Let's pop these in to our oven. We're going to set a timer for 15 minutes. And like I said, after 15 minutes, we're going to check it. Our result from earlier came out great. And I'll show you a close-up with a brand new spoon of what it came out looking like. The color temperature on my camera is not awesome. Not quite as green as that, but it is delicious. So this is one. I made 4 earlier. I ate one of them, and this is the second one. And then I cleaned out the 3 ramekins to make more. I can tell you, it's delicious. But anyway, this is what it looks like when it's done. It pretty much looks exactly like this when it's done. The edges here come away. I don't know if you can see, there's like a little gap in there. So what I was telling you about how like filling it, it actually like clings together and comes away from the edges. So you really don't have to worry about it like, going over, which is great. Yeah, so suggested means of consumption is with ice cream and berries or fruit, like whatever fruit rocks your boat. And yeah, hopefully this is still a little more, yeah. So do you see that? Do you see how like molten it is on the inside? Now I made this one quite a bit earlier, so it's not gonna be like hot anymore, but I can tell you the ones that I took out were like still steaming and just delicious. Let's see if I can get a little piece of the cake here for you to look at. So you can see it's almost like fudgy. I don't know if the zoom or the focus on this little camera is great, but maybe I'll hold it up to here. See? Yeah. It's like fudgy, and then the inside is all melty. Anyway, it's delicious. Yeah, it's delicious. You serve it with berries. That's a good combo. Okay, I'm gonna take a second to chew my food and read the chat. Okay. Yeah, it does look good. It also tastes very good. Let's see. I think that's all I got for you. I want to come up with something new to do today. It's Christmas Eve. I already told you we're on breakish at the office. Ian's still there though, taking care of everything. And customer service is still up, live, happy to answer questions. Yeah. Other than that, we're just chilling. I think Joni's going on a mini vacation soon, which is exciting. I just got back from a very long vacation, which I appreciate you all bearing with me for. And yeah, I don't know. we're just very happy to celebrate this holidays with you guys. We hope that you have a very happy holidays. Hopefully most of you are with family or friends or loved ones right now, celebrating a wonderful Christmas Eve. And I think that's all I got for you. I'm trying to think if we've been advertising anything, but I don't think we have. We've been really pushing gift cards. It's Christmas Eve. If you do gifts in the morning and you haven't gotten one for somebody and you know they happen to like dice, gift cards are a great solution. Gift cards to Dice Envy, maybe, even if you were feeling like it. Yeah. Okay, kids. Well, I'm gonna wait for my other batch to pop here, share it with my loved ones. And thank you for joining us. I'll keep this short, and we will see you next Tuesday at 3. As always, Jay Maloney, I hope you have a wonderful holiday. Let's see, Mr. Ghost, Miss Sock Beans. We got a few other watchers and the lurkers in the chat, so happy holidays to you all. Really appreciate you all being here. This is our first year doing DETV, so it's nice to wrap it out with you guys. And I will see you in a week. That's it. Yeah, that's it. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas. And I'll see you guys next time.